This week I'm taking my flowers from my new flower farm to a farmer's market. I've set myself a goal. I want to turn over £1,000 at this market to not only cover my costs but to make profit too. It didn't quite go as planned, and by the end of the day I was dropping prices just to try and clear the flowers that I had left. In this video I'm going to share what it takes to sell flowers at a farmer's market, including the often overlooked costs of growing the flowers, the packaging and the labour that it takes to go to the market. So at the end of the day, was the profit that I made actually money in my pocket? Keep watching to find out. Market week started by having a count up of the flowers that I had in the field. I knew I'd probably have to buy some flowers in because I'm running short on focal flowers at the moment, but I wanted to see what I had in what quantities so that I could make a plan on how much to buy. The dahlias haven't quite got going yet, so I needed to order extras in to go with the abundance of filler flowers I've got in the field. I also gave everything a good feed, water and deadhead to make sure everything was doing as well as it could be in the run up to the market. Based on what I'd counted, I figured that I'd be able to take roughly 50 bouquets to the market, containing 15 stems each, priced at £20 each. I'd aim to pick 500 stems from my own field and buy in roughly 250 stems from local fellow flower farmers. With 2 days to go until the market, I started picking flowers from my field. The plan was to pick them on Friday, arrange them on Saturday and sell them on Sunday. I picked lots of gorgeous stuff from the field, including zinnias, helichrysum, scabious, achillea, snapdragons, dahlias, flax, cosmos and grasses. Once that was done, I headed over to my village neighbour Fiona from Flowers by Raspberry Wild, who cut me a couple of buckets of flowers including hydrangea, annual and perennial phlox and helenium. The helenium was particularly gorgeous and I'll definitely be adding this to my list of perennials to grow in the future. I also grabbed a couple of buckets from Hattie at Gathered at Dusk containing dahlias, perennial asters, cosmos, mint, zinnias and rudbeckia. I brought everything back to the workshop to allow it to condition overnight, and I pre-prepared the packaging so that I could focus on bouquet making the day before the market. Saturday morning now, which means it's time to start putting the bouquets together. I've got such a beautiful selection of flowers behind me and I'm really looking forward to putting them together in bunches. I think I'm going to put about 50 bunches together, so it's going to be a busy day, so let's get cracking. To try and make the bouquet making process as quick as possible, I always lay out a good mix of flowers on the table which I can use to construct well-rounded bouquets, including filler flowers like achillea and statice, focals like dahlias, spike flowers like snapdragons and extra supporting elements like the helichrysum, zinnias and grasses for texture. I always aim to be as quick as possible, but in all honesty I usually end up faffing around for far too long with some of the bouquets. So it's about 3:30 now, and I've got 39 bunches made. My original goal was to make 50, but I have been sneaking a few extra stems in some of the bouquets, so I've kind of reduced it down to only being able to make 39. I'm still quite pleased with that number, but I'm hoping that this afternoon I'm going to go to the farm and maybe there'll be some more flowers that have flowered since I picked yesterday morning. I'm pretty certain there's going to be some dahlias and some cosmos, helichrysum, zinnias, so I'm going to go and pick some extras. I'm not going to arrange them today, but I'm going to take them to the market with me, and if it looks like I'm going to sell out, then I'll grab those flowers and make them into bouquets. If not, those can go into the flower shed on Monday, so it's not going to be a loss if I don't sell those flowers, if I pick them and take them with me. But I'm really pleased with how the bouquets are looking. I've got some really nice colour combinations going on, and yeah, looking forward to seeing how they sell at the market tomorrow. Because I'd done the usual and snuck extra stems in nearly all of the bouquets, I was going to be way off my £1,000 target, so I decided to reevaluate the price of my bouquets and charge £22 rather than £20 to make up for the extra stems that I'd put in each one. So if I sold all of these bouquets for £22, I'd turn over £858. But with the extra flowers I'd picked from the farm the night before the market, I'd be closer to my target of turning over £1,000 if I managed to sell all of them. The next morning was an early start, but this cracking sunrise made it a bit less painful. Time to get the van loaded up with flowers, the gazebo, tables and everything else and get on the road. So I'm just en route to the market. It's 6:20 and it's only about half an hour or 40 minutes away. And I managed to pick a few more flowers last night, so I should hit my target of being able to make around or turn over around £1,000 at this market if I can sell those extra flowers that I picked last night. I also went and picked some Ami to decorate the poles that I've got, just as a nice feature to the stall. And I was just thinking about this time last year, I did the same market, and I was just reading through the notes that I made about that market last night, and I spent £700 on flowers last year to get to this market because I'd pre-booked the market and then I left the farm that I was growing on, so I didn't have any of my own flowers. I had a few because I grew some at my friend's farm, but £700 on flowers, and this time I've only spent 200 quid on flowers. So hopefully if I can sell the flowers today, it's going to be a pretty profitable day. So fingers crossed for me. Hello. Bloom and grey. Setting up at the market always feels a bit stressful, and you really feel the time pressure of getting everything ready before it opens up to the public, especially when you decide to do a fresh flower arrangement outside your stall on the day of the market. But this was really worth it, as it got lots of compliments and attracted lots of attention from passers-by, which I think is key at a market filled with lots of other traders all competing for the customer's attention. It was a relief when everything came together just before 9 AM and I was ready to sell the bouquets I'd been nurturing since February this year and preparing over the last 2 days. Just got set up at the market and it's now 9 o'clock, so the public are going to start coming through now, so hopefully it's going to be a good day. I'm looking forward to it. It's actually, I've actually sold 2 bouquets already. Somebody came first thing and she was making a beeline for the flower stall, so she was looking to buy flowers today, so that's good. Start to the day. Fingers crossed it continues that way. The market seemed busy. There were lots of people walking around, the weather was good, and in the first 2 hours I'd sold 12 bouquets and a couple of my Good Soil, Good Flowers caps. By the way, I sell these on my website if you'd like one for yourself. However, after the strong start, things started to slow down, and at 12 o'clock, with just 2 hours left of the market, I decided to lower the price to £20 as I still had over 20 bouquets to sell. After 12:30, I only sold 1 or 2 more, and in the final hour I lowered the price again to £15 a bouquet. I'd rather break even than throw these beautiful flowers on the compost pile. Unfortunately, after lowering the price again, I only sold one more bouquet, finishing the market with 12 bouquets left to spare, plus the extra bucket of flowers that I brought with me. So let's have a look at the final numbers and reflect on the day. Was the market day worth it in the end? So I've got the market day figures here to give you a bit of food for thought, and I've got a couple of different scenarios as well that I want to run by you because I'd love to know what you think about these potential other scenarios in the comments. So firstly, I want to go over the costs of the market day. So it cost me £537.55 to trade at the market, plus 19.5 hours labour. So it cost me £200 to buy extra flowers in. The market stall cost me £55. The fuel cost me roughly £40. The packaging for the flowers, including the craft paper and tissue paper and stickers, cost me £17.55 for all of the bouquets. And then based upon some calculations that I did a few years ago on how much it cost me to produce one single stem from a plant, I figured that out a few years ago to be 30 pence per stem. It might be a little bit different now, but I'm just using that one for now to save me having to work it out again, because it's pretty tricky to work out how much it costs to produce one single stem of flowers. Anyway, so 750 stems at 30 pence a stem to produce means that I took £225 worth of my own flowers to the market, and then 19.5 hours of labour. So what I haven't done here is put a cost to my labour and then added that to the cost of being at the market. What I'm going to do is take the profit that I made at the market, divide it by 19.5 hours, and see how much I was working for per hour. So I took on the day £550. That includes £535 that I took at the market, and then £15 that I took from the flower shed on the night of the market when I came back here and put them in the flower shed. So £550 minus £537.55 that it cost me to be at the market gave me a net profit of £12.45. So divided by 19.5 hours labour, that gives me a total of 63 pence an hour that I was working for over the last 3 days last week. But aside from that, there are other benefits to being at the market, which are to increase brand awareness and marketing for future events like future farmers markets, any kind of workshops that you might run on your farm. I used to get people who used to come and see me at the market during the day, and then in the evening they used to book onto workshops that I had running in the summer. I'm no longer doing that, so it isn't quite a benefit for me, but I'm just thinking for you guys who might be considering doing farmers markets. And then weddings, if you're doing those too, there's always somebody who inquires about weddings. I must have had a handful of them while I was at the market on the weekend, and I've also met lots of long-term customers at the market who have become great customers over the years, and friends too, and they've gone on to spend thousands more pounds with me at their weddings, baby showers, any events that they're having, and Christmas wreath making workshops and that kind of thing. So it's not just the money that you make on the day at the market, always at the farmers market. Sometimes it's just that brand awareness too. I also recouped the cost of growing the flowers, which is the £225 in that total earnings for the day. So what I want to do is look at it differently, and if I hadn't brought 12 bunches of flowers home with me, then what would the day have looked like then? So if I'd have sold 44 bouquets at the market at £22 each, I hadn't had to reduce the price at all, and I'd been able to make those extra bouquets of flowers from the extra flowers that I'd picked the night before the market, then I'd have been able to take £968 on the day of the market. And then the costs would be the same as previously, because even though I'd sold more, the costs wouldn't have gone up. So that would have been £537.55 as it was before, giving me a net profit of £430.45. So then if we divide that by 19.5, which was the amount of labour that I put into it, then I would have been working for £22.07 per hour, which is a much nicer rate to be working for than 63p, don't you think? And then the benefits would be the same as before too, including brand awareness, being able to get bookings for future events and weddings and that kind of thing. So I wanted to kind of think about an alternative strategy that I could have taken at the market, which would have been to sell my flowers cheaper, and potentially I would have been able to sell more because people would have maybe felt less resistance about the price, and they'd have thought, well, I'm here, I'm willing to spend money for the day, so I've come with a total in mind that I'm willing to spend, and I'm just going to treat myself to a bunch of flowers. And maybe £15, selling bouquets for £15 would have been more appealing. So let's have a look at what would have happened if I'd have sold £15 bouquets, which contain 17 stems, which is below the usual price that I would sell retail flowers for, but I would also not buy any flowers in. So in this scenario, I'm not buying flowers in, I'm selling £15 bouquets with 17 stems in each, and I'm going to be able to make 44 bouquets out of the 750 stems that I picked from my own field. So my costs then would be £337.55 because I've got the £200 less on flowers that I bought in, but I would have taken £660 on the 44 £15 bouquets. Divided by 19.5, that means that I would be working for £16.55 an hour, which is also a reasonable amount to be working for. It's above minimum wage, which is good. So there's less risk in that scenario of loss because I'm not buying any flowers in. When I was doing the market on the weekend, I had to sell about 20 bouquets just to work off the cost of the flowers that I bought in before I even started to think about working off some of the other costs and then getting into profit. So there's a little bit less risk there by not taking flowers with me. I think when I do the market next month, I'm definitely not going to buy any in. I'm just going to take what I have with me, or if there's nothing because the field has totally dried out because of this drought, then I will just probably not do the market. So I would love to know what you think about that different strategy in the comments. Do you think it's a good idea or not? Should I do it at the next market? Should I sell cheaper bouquets and see how they sell? Because then maybe I'm able to sell more of them and not bring any bouquets home with me. So let me know what you think in the comments. I would love to have a chat about it down there. Thank you so much for watching this video again. I hope you found it useful. I know lots of you are setting up flower farms, thinking about flower farming, and I wanted to cover all of the aspects of selling them too, like doing farmers markets. In the next couple of weeks, there's going to be more videos coming out about how to grow cut flowers, whether you are thinking about doing it in your garden as a hobby or whether you are thinking about starting a flower farm. So I hope you'll join me for those. Don't forget to subscribe. It really helps to boost me on the algorithm so that my videos can be shown to more people who are interested in flowers. Thank you so much, and I'll see you again soon.